The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to this week's edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Buldu, and I'm pleased to be joined by my co-host, Greg Buchanan, the voice, the audible voice of the CPCA. How's it going, my friend?
Not too bad at all. I need a bit of a cushion here to get a little bit higher than our guest here.
I can slouch for you.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of which, we have Lance Ward, former NHLer and coach of the Lloydminster Universal Heat. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excellent. And we just want to talk a little bit. Your team didn't do too bad this season. You got a lot of promising kids and should be exciting for next year as well. Yeah,
we had, overall we had a pretty successful year. We lost in the North Final to the team that ended up winning our league. So, that's somewhat rewarding to know that we lost to the champs. But, nevertheless, we had a great group of kids, and ultimately everybody improved. We had three of the boys made the Alberta Cup team this past weekend. So, proud of all of them for that. And a great year. Really enjoyed myself.
You know what? I bet some of those kids too will do very well with the Montreal Canadiens because Lord knows they need help. Speaking of which, they got rid of their GM, and it was about time. Pierre Gauthier used up all of his 9 lives. He is now gone. Jeff Molson, the president and owner of the team, said, look, we're looking for a winner, someone who could bring in some players, but yes, he has to be bilingual. Do they really hurt themselves by saying that, limiting themselves at all?
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you put that big of a limitation on who you're looking for, there's no question that the drawing pool is small. What are your options really? That being said, I understand. There's no question then that they need to keep their fans happy. They need to keep media, players, employees of the club. I mean, if the language is that big of a deal and that's what they have to do, then they have to do it. In my opinion, you can teach somebody a language in 6 months, a year, whatever it takes to learn French. But to learn to be a GM is not a one-year process. It's a lifelong thing.
I'm thinking, from what I can remember, Scotty Bowman. I don't think he really knew French, did he?
Well, he knows it now.
Yeah.
But he was basically brought into it. But I think Montreal doesn't have a choice in the matter. They have to have a GM that can speak both languages. You've been in the dressing room in Montreal, and there's 20 French reporters and maybe 15 English reporters looking for interviews after the game. So the French media really controls that province, and they don't have a choice in the matter. The next question now is, what do they do with Randy Cunningworth? New GM, an English-speaking coach. I don't like Randy's chances staying around.
What about filling in that position? Obviously, next season is what they're looking for. Does Patrick Waugh fit in that mold? Do you bring in somebody else? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, I like Patrick Waugh as a coach. As a GM, I don't know. That's kind of tough.
Again, I don't know. The GM, you can always surround yourself with other people. If you've got the face of Patrick Waugh, and maybe you have, people in the back burner that actually, are helping him out. But, like you said, your options are limited when you put that big of a stamp on who you're looking for.
Moving on to the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers, this is going to be a bloodbath with these two. It was evident on Sunday when you saw the hit by Braden Shen, not too happy with the little tap from Sidney Crosby, so he takes him down. And then with just over a minute to go, you saw Danny Briere get hit in center ice. It was a clean hit, but now he's gone indefinitely for this season and possibly that first round of the playoffs, who they might play against Philadelphia, right, and Pittsburgh. Peter Laviolette really got into it with Dan Bylsma, calling him cheap for putting in his goons, putting in his fourth line at that time. Do you agree with Laviolette and what he said, or is this just a part of hockey?
Totally disagree. I think the onus is on Laviolette. The players that he had on the ice was his call. They're at home. It's last change for him. It's Bylsma does exactly what most coaches do when you're down by 2 goals. The last couple of minutes, you put out your fourth line. You play your third and fourth line. There was nothing malicious about it, and a clean hit. It's not like he's it's not super dirty players that he put out there. It was a clean hockey play, and it was just frustration that he lost one of his best players.
I think in that game there was messages being sent. Schenn goes after Sidney Crosby, roughs him up a little bit, and then at the end of the game, Pittsburgh sends a message to Philadelphia. This is all about sending messages, getting ready for that first round playoff matchup. And yeah, it's going to be a beauty. But you know, was he at it? You know, you look at it, and Lance is right. You know, Philly should have had their right players on the ice, should have had their fourth liners. Is it his fault that he didn't? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but that first round's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, we'll get a preview of that too because they meet on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's even better. So the hostilities will still continue. Let's move on to the seeding. Now, we'll still talk about Pittsburgh and Philadelphia because you have Pittsburgh at 102 points, Philly right behind them with 101 points, and the Florida Panthers, I know you played with them and you've had a special bond with the Panthers, 91 points, but yet Florida is the higher seed, and the Penguins and Flyers are going to meet each other in the playoffs. To me, this seems a little frustrating if you are Pittsburgh or Philadelphia because you've outplayed those teams, you've had success, but yet you're going to have a tougher road than, say, Florida just because they won their division. In the NBA, they do things a little bit differently. They bring in, say, if you are the third-ranked team, but you have a lower win total or winning percentage, the team that's in sixth would get home court advantage or whatever. Do you feel something like that should be implemented, or they should kind of go away with the divisions? Like, you make the playoffs, but you're determined by points. What do you guys think?
That's tough. That's tough because, you know, there's going to be some divisions, if you go and seed it that way, there's a whole division that won't make the playoffs, potentially, you know, if you seed it a certain way, or just one team from that division makes the playoffs. You know, how do you fix it? Do you reseed after that first round? That's interesting, but you know, I think the NHL's been debating about this for years. Is it ever going to get fixed? Not likely.
Did they not have a different proposal when the NHLPA shot down the whole realignment?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
I thought that there was something in there that they were going to change it, but again, like you said, it's a mess. I don't agree with the way it is now. I don't think that Florida should be seated ahead of a team that's, you know, is their point difference 10 now? You know, I don't think they should be seated ahead of them. That being said, I mean, they do it for a reason, just because some divisions are tougher and some divisions are weaker, right? So, you know, you win your division, whether it's a tough or a weak division, you deserve to be in the playoffs. So, truthfully, I don't have the answers. I don't know what the magic wand is going to be to fix that. And, you know, is there a right solution? I don't know. I mean, it's tough on those teams that are going to battle in the first round instead of playing a 7th, 8th seed. So.
Well, I guess if you're New Jersey or Ottawa, you certainly enjoy the fact that you get to play Florida in the first round.
Absolutely.
But we're going to have to take a bit of a break here. We'll be back with more on Gloves Are Off coming up.